Overall, this event was very successful. We raised $600 in sponsorship donations. In addition, we had a $75 Publix gift card, and lunch, snacks, and drinks were all provided by our sponsors. We also reached our goal of having 20 attendees, which included friends and families of players and volunteers. We reached our objectives of raising awareness for the Georgia Blind Sports Association. We also gained a long-term volunteer relationship status at the end of the event. They passed around an email list for volunteers interested in signing up for future events. As far as obstacles for the event, we had to coordinate with KSU, GBSA, and our group members to find an available date and time for the event. We struggled finding volunteers and sponsors to reach the donation goal, although we were eventually successful. We also struggled reaching enough KSU students to attend the event. This is because non-KSU students require the $10 fee, which would have taken away from our donation. Another obstacle was coordinating supplies to set up the demonstration. This included tape for the court, scoreboard, the goal balls, goals, knee pads, elbow pads, hip pads, and goggles. Luckily, the Georgia Blind Sports Association provided all of that, and they were all ready and set up by the time the event started, so that was awesome. During the sport, there's a bunch of KSU students with no experience doing anything blindfolded, more or less playing a team sport. So it was just great to see how passionate they were for the sport and just to really enjoy spreading it around. For concepts from the book, this was a single-day event sponsorship, which promotes the affinity for the sport of goalball rather than a specific team or league. And our sponsors were able to take advantage of this single-day event by implementing marketing programs for weeks leading up to the event. And our group was extremely helpful in this process by including all of our sponsors' logos on the flyers as we passed them around the KSU campus and the local Kennesaw.
In 2016, the USA men's team took silver in Rio. I was fortunate to be there.
It was a lot harder than I think that we all expected to be able to secure those sponsors. Going back to engaging our target market, I think that experimental marketing would be big for KSU students to be able to reach them kind of in the next event that we did, or if we were able to show some sort of video or photos of what Goalball was all about, and giving them that like testimonies on, going through that experience, because that was the biggest thing that I took away from the whole event was the experience that I had during it. I think it was an incredibly humbling event. And I mean, you're taken away, one of the biggest senses that you have, your sight, is taken away during it. And you realize that these athletes, they go through this on a daily basis. There was an experiment they had us do prior to the game in warm-ups where they have us move a certain amount of steps, turn around, and then do it backwards. And it just made you realize how, I don't want to say blessed, but how different life would be if you had one of your major senses taken away. And these athletes were absolutely incredible in all these different levels, on teaching us on how to play the game and then kicking our butts playing the game. But it was such a fantastic event, and I wish everybody had the chance to involve themselves in goalball. It is a really awesome experience.
Oh, that was too easy. Terrain, you gotta lay down, Terrain. Our client's objective was to raise brand awareness amongst Kennesaw State University students and faculty. Another objective was to gain donations to help with team funding and to build lasting relationships amongst volunteers and sponsors. We all agreed that gaining sponsors was the most difficult. Even though we were able to get it done, it was very time consuming and painful. What I took away from this event is how important advertising is. Although we reached our number of attendees, more participation from the student body and faculty at Kennesaw State University would have been ideal. The administrator and founder of Georgia Blind Sports Association was very appreciative that we were able to help him reach their objectives, and he was very helpful. Anytime I called, he was there to answer questions. He was keeping in contact. He never went MIA, so I was very appreciative of that.
Great experience, although it was a little bit of a different experience for me because whether it was through basketball, football, or soccer, I've always learned sports through hand-eye coordination or foot-eye coordination, but I've always had my vision there, so this was a little bit of a different experience for me, and it would be for anybody who's not visually impaired. After playing this at a beginner level, I really have a lot more respect for visually impaired athletes, especially ones that play goalball at a Paralympic level. The best part of our event was by far just getting out there and finally playing the game, and we got to learn by people who have played at the Paralympic level. So that was really the best experience for me, just to get to see how different things are when you are visually impaired with the goggles on and everything. So overall, I feel like our event was very successful. We were able to gain sponsorship money through large corporations such as Publix, Kroger, and Comcast. And we were able to do this for a nonprofit organization as students, which was a lot more difficult than I expected. In addition to gaining sponsors, we were able to get 20 attendees for our event, which was fantastic because our event was held on a Saturday morning on campus, and not too many students want to come out on a Saturday morning. Although it would have been a better experience if we got more of the KSU student body to attend, just to have more games going on and to kind of raise more awareness. But we were still able to raise brand awareness of what Goalball is through repetition of our flyer and Facebook promotions. And this relates to Chapter 11 directly in our text. And a quote I have is, "Building brand awareness among an audience can be achieved through repetition of brand name or logo," which I definitely feel like we did a great job of.
most difficult thing for us was actually after figuring out what we were going to do and getting approval for it, was probably finding a venue. Thankfully, KSU at KSU we have our new rec center with the multi-activity court that we were able to do this event at. So it's quiet enough in there because we need a quiet arena so you can actually hear where the ball's coming and going from. So yeah, the most difficult part was getting the venue. One of the sections from the book that was important for this project was Chapter 8, Planning the Brand Story. Under the headline Strategic Implications, they were talking about being aware and associating the brand to something. Goalball isn't that big, and when I was out there marketing our event, promoting it, I ran into somebody when he saw the flyer. He was joking around with one of his friends saying, "Oh, what is Goalball? Is it blind soccer?" And I had to explain to him what it really was. At first I was kind of mad that he was making fun of it, but he didn't have anything to associate Goalball with, and he wasn't aware of what it was. On page 219, the book actually states that as consumers move from knowledge to affinity, their relationship with the brand focuses more on feelings and emotions. After I explained what Goalball was to him, I saw in his face that he took it more serious. His emotions changed, and so yeah, Chapter 8, that kind of helped with that. So yeah, the Goalball, I think it went really well, and